Hello everyone and welcome back to Hamburg and Football Manager 2020. Now, it's been a few days since I made my last video, and in those days I've been playing the next season, our second season here at Hamburg, as well as some Pokemon, unfortunately, and that is what has been keeping me a little bit busy. But coming back to Hamburg, we have now gotten through about halfway through the season. We are only one match away from halfway, and so far we're doing a lot better than I had hoped for actually this season. If we look at the league table right now, this is in January, we can see that we're doing a lot better than that 10th place finish that I talked about earlier before the season started. And it's all been down to some really standout performances. Actually, if we go to the schedule here, I apologize, but I'm having a bit of a cold, so I might be a little bit stuffy. But looking at the schedule here for the season, we can see it's been a mixed bag, but mostly a lot of green. So we've been doing well in the Bundesliga and also in the DFB Pokal. We're still in it. Looking at it, we won our first match against Eintracht Braunschweig, and then won our second match against Bochum. And so far, we haven't gotten to play our third match, but it will be against Hannover. In the Bundesliga, we've also been playing very well. We started the season in a quite difficult position, playing Hoffenheim, Wolfsburg, and Mönchengladbach all in a row, as well as Eintracht Frankfurt and Leipzig. It was not an easy start to life in the top division, but we got through it pretty well. One of the big matches, really, of the season was the match against Schalke. Looking at it, it finished 3-3, but it was a stellar performance where Schalke scored in the 7th minute, in the 31st and 35th minute. I thought we were completely out of it. We got to halftime. I yelled at the boys. I told them, your reputation is at stake. You have to step up. And looking at it, look here, Water Pakia, the boy I thought would be our main man on the left, steps up, grabs that first all-important goal, followed by Lukas Hinterseer and a late substitution, Jeremy Dudziak, coming in, scoring the 3-3 equalizing goal in the 90 plus 3rd minute. Fantastic match. After that, we went on, we beat Leverkusen, Freiburg. We had a good run up until Mainz. Now this match was a bit of a shit show, in my opinion. Really, we had Warapakia sent off in the 7th minute, and I personally don't believe that it was a bad tackle, and I even tried to appeal that red card after the match, but apparently the German FA are absolutely blind or something because they don't agree with me. Of course they don't, because it's Football Manager and they never agree. Leibold also got sent off, and really, I mean, was there any doubt that we were going to lose badly at that point? So yeah, it was a bad day for one. We followed it up though. We really bounced back, played against Bayern, scoring 2 goals in the first 15 minutes. One of them coming from our man Emerson Heinemann. I'm sorry, I can't speak. Emerson the American, as I call him. Fantastic effort by him, and he's been so good for us, really, this season. But he pulled us ahead 2-0 until Robert Lewandowski does what Robert Lewandowski does. He scored 2 goals in 2 minutes. Fantastic player. God, I wish we had him. He's still kicking butt at the age of 32, earning 325,000 euros a week, apparently. I would like that money. But after the Bayern match, we played well. We had some really good performances against Werder Bremen, Heidenheim, and then culminating in a 5-1 defeat of Hertha. And I said I wanted to finish above Hertha. Well, this match really proved which team is the better team. And looking also here at Lucas Hinterseer, what a performance. 4 goals, 9.7 rating. I mean, I remember I said I didn't think he was good enough for the Bundesliga, but boy, he proved to me that he still has a point to prove. 29 years old, the Austrian. He showed that he can play with the best of them. He can really be a main guy in a Bundesliga team. So I'm really happy to have him. After the Hertha match, unfortunately, we got a big spanking from the league leaders themselves, Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund, they've had a really, really good season. I mean, looking at them in the table, they're 3 points ahead of Bayern Munich. Paco Alcacer, who is shared second top goal scorer of the division, together with Lucas Hinterseer, our own little Lucas, has been really good. Also, Robin Quaison, this guy, he absolutely wrecked us in that Mainz match. He was one of their key players. He has had such an amazing season. And I really wanted to try to get him. Unfortunately, he was a bit too expensive for me, and AS Monaco snapped him up instead. Now, apart from the matches, I want to talk about some of the events of the season. We actually started this season with a bit of a problem that I didn't talk about in the last video, but Sonny Kittel, looking at him, Sonny Kittel is a really, really good player. I really like him. He's a good number 10, fantastic advanced playmaker, really, who can also play on the wings, both wings, and in the central midfield. I really like him. He's been fantastic for us. Looking at him this season, he hasn't had the best rating, but he has contributed. He's still contributed to 4 goals in 12 appearances. Last season, he contributed quite well and had a higher average rating. He unfortunately decided that he wanted to have a new contract in the beginning of the season. And I was not prepared to give it to him because I don't think that he is a long-term prospect at the club. As well, his contract already lasts until 2023, so I told him no. He's been out of the side for quite a bit. That's why he's played so few matches, or fewer matches this season than last, and also probably why his performances have not been as good. But luckily, he has gotten over the situation just now, so I'm really happy that we have figured that out and that he's back to his best. We also have Gideon Jung, who is he's probably supposed to be a center back mostly, and I would like to play him as a center back otherwise. Unfortunately for me, his aerials are just a little bit too poor. He's just not good enough in the air. Looking at him as well as a ball-playing defender, we can see he doesn't really have the vision for it or the composure. He's simply not really made for a ball-playing defender, and because of that, I haven't really found a place for him to play. Because if he can't really play as a ball-playing defender, then I can't use him as a center back, and he could play as a defensive midfielder. But there we have the same problem. My defensive midfielders, I like to play with deep-lying playmakers, and looking at him again with poor vision, poor off-the-ball movement, poor composure, poor passing, he hasn't been able to do that for us. So he has not been getting a lot of starts this season. But that might change actually, because we've made some tactical changes, which I will get to in a little bit. Also, I want to talk about Xavier Amaechi. Looking here, these are the goals in the team this season. And Lucas Hinterseer, he is the top goal scorer this season. But number 2 is Xavier Amaechi. 20 years old now. He was actually nominated for the European Golden Boy Award until he unfortunately, I think, broke his. Oh yeah, he broke his ribs. So he was gone. He went to a specialist and has been gone, I think, for about 2 months, which is a real shame for his development. But so far this season, I mean, look at that. 9 appearances, 6 goals. He played so well at the start, and he was really one of the most important players we had for a while, and really was making that right wing his own until, unfortunately, he got that injury. Apart from him, I would also like to talk about 2 other players. Number one, I want to talk about Bobby Wood. Bobby Wood is a good player. He's a really fast player, as you can see. He's got pretty good physicals. He's a little bit like Warapakia, but a little bit more developed, I would say. I've not been giving him a lot of game time, but when he has played, he's played generally quite well. Now, he's actually in his last year of contract, and he's been asking for a new contract, an extension. But looking at his wages, 57,000 euros per week. He is literally taking up 9.5% of the entire club's wage bill. I simply cannot justify giving this guy a new contract. It's just not possible. I like him, but he will never be more probably than a backup for Hinterseer or Warapakia at this moment. It's just he doesn't have a full, first team place in the squad at the moment, and he won't have for the future. And paying him this much is just not possible for us if we want to get anywhere else and get other better players. Last player, maybe second last, but one of the last players I want to talk about is Berkay Özkan. Now, I haven't mentioned him before because he was on loan last season to Istanbul. A loan that did not prove to be overly fruitful. I mean, he had some goal contributions, but it wasn't that fantastic. But playing for us now that he got back, he's really stepped it up, scoring in or contributing to a goal in about a third of our matches that he's played. I had a really big problem with him as well. I mean, if you look at him, he's quite similar to Sonny Kittel, and I just didn't know where to play him because in my 4-3-3 system, I don't use a 10. So I tried to play him up top as a false 9, which was okay. I don't think it was the best use of him, to be honest. But otherwise, I've played him a little bit on the wing and a little bit in the central midfield, trying to play him as a bit of an attacking Metzala, get him up there and contribute to the attack. But he's been really good, and I think this is a player we really have a future with, considering that he's only 22. So I'm happy to have him, and I'm happy to form a new tactic around him, so to speak. Now, finally, just because he has been so good for us, I want to talk about Pedro Chirivella. Look at his current ability and potential ability, and he keeps improving. He really became the all-round fine replacement that we were looking for. He is, at the moment, the top assist maker of the club, 7.47 average rating, heads and shoulders again above the rest. This is why I said it was so important for us to have a good defensive midfielder, a good deep lying playmaker. Looking at his ratings and everything, I am so pleased with him, and I'm so happy that our investment paid off. I'm expecting him to probably get quite a few offers in the summer, but it doesn't really worry me, and I will explain why. If we sell him in the summer for some money, I am planning on picking up this guy, Marko Guric, transfer listed by Liverpool for 12.25 million euros. But this guy is really a steal at that price. He's valued at 24 million. I mean, if we compare him to Chirivella, we can see that he is definitely a better player. He's not as fast, but in any other department, he is as good, if not better. And especially that aerial ability in the deeper part of the midfield, so good for controlling a match. Now, moving on, I want to talk about our tactics. As you can see, we've had a bit of a tactical shift because I wanted to pull in Berkay Özcan into the side. So I decided to go for a 4-2-3-1 instead of the 4-3-3, and so far it's been working very well. It also opened up positions for Kinsombi. Kinsombi was playing quite a lot in the box-to-box midfield role, but it also gave us the chance to play Gideon Jung in the same position. Playing Jung in the defensive midfield and then putting in Jonas David so that he gets a chance to play in the center back position. My assistant manager has always he keeps saying that he wants Jung in the central defensive partnership with Van Drongelen, but really, if both David and Jung are competing for the same spot, we really have a problem because we want David really to develop and to be a player that we can sell on for hopefully a bit of cash. So changing the tactical setup so we can have both of them play, I think is generally quite a good thing. We also have Linus Wahlqvist, who has been picking himself up a little bit lately. He has not been playing as well as I thought he would. His average rating is 6.85 for us, and it was above 7 for Dynamo last season. So that's a bit of a shame. We also had the same problem with Sofian. He has been improving, but not as much as I wished that he would, and in fact he will go on loan now to Kiel to hopefully get some more match experience. I still think he will develop into a good player, but I don't think he is ready to play for us yet. And with Berkay back, we do have a player who can really... He has his position now, and I don't really want to mess that up by rotating him with Sofian. And it's really important that the both of them get the playing time they need. Now, otherwise, in the transfer window, I've been looking at some players. I've sold Everton. Let's look at the outs first, maybe. I've sold a bunch of young players who are not good enough. I've been working on trying to get rid of Bobby Wood, but he will not accept any contract offers that are not ours, unfortunately, because the clubs that want to buy him are just, they don't have the money that we have. So that's why he's not getting a new contract, which is a big problem. We can't see it now, but I did sell our fourth choice center back, or rather maybe fifth choice in the end, Everton. I sold him for 1.2 million to a Brazilian club. On the ins, we can see I've tried to sign these 3 different players. I wanted to get another midfielder in, and I wanted to get in a new ball-playing defender. All of these players I tried to get on a free. Filippo Ranocchia is a really sad one because we did have a deal in place. He looks like a good player. A little bit not really there yet, but definitely someone who would improve and could have been an important player for us. Unfortunately, he rejected our contract offer and is going to Pro Vercelli instead in the second division of Italy, which is a big shame. But I'm hoping we can pull in John Stankovic, a 24-year-old Slovenian, good central defensive or center back. Sorry, really good as a ball-playing defender, and who has been playing for Huddersfield in the Premier League and now in the Championship. So I think he would be a good buy if we could get him for free. My scouts also think or believe that he could improve quite a bit as well. So getting him in would be a good piece of business. We also have a offer for Alex Ferreri, who is not the best ball-playing defender I've ever seen. He is quite developed, but you know he can play in the right back as well. At the moment, we do have probably three players that could play in the right back, so it's not really necessary. But hey, it's always good to have players that can play multiple positions. I don't expect us to do a lot of business though for the transfer period. With a transfer budget of only 4 million, there's not a lot of room to work with. So if I can get more players in on freeze, then I'll do it, especially if I think we can make some more money from them. But we really, really need to get some money somehow. I have not gotten any offers for any players really that could make us some money. And unfortunately, the club's balance is in the negative right now. So I'm hoping we don't have to do anything drastic and transfer lists half the team or something. But, you know, we really need to get rid of players like Bobby Woods who are just stealing money for a living on our bench. But yeah, that would. I want to wrap up this update for the season so far. I hope that next time we meet will be at the end of the season. Hopefully, with us being, like I said, top half finish would be fantastic. If we could get European qualification, I would be absolutely ecstatic. I am not getting ahead of myself, though. I'm not going to set my bar that high, but we'll see how it goes. But thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya!